Well, we're live on YouTube, and all the others are still coming up.
There they go.
So here they come. We're excited. I think everybody's alive.
Everyone's live. Is everyone alive right now?
Everyone's live. Well, welcome everybody to Monday Night Live.
Yes, the best night of the week.
We are super excited to join you this Monday night and to be able to jump into our weekly topics and talk about a lot of these self-help personal development pieces that are really designed to help you as the viewer come up with ideas and solutions and tools, but most importantly, to be able to create conversation that you can have with loved ones and people's
all the peoples,
people in your life that you can really help move people forward and motivate people. So it's been pretty cool to be able to be a part of this journey.
Yes, absolutely. We are in fact coming up on
3 years.
Yeah. Our 3-year anniversary is right around this corner this summer. So we're going to have to do something big to celebrate that.
I'll never forget, like, Kate was like, hey, we're going to start doing YouTube lives. And I'm like, or Facebook lives and Instagram. I was like, what are you talking about? and 3 years ago, which has been fun, because if you go back, and I really encourage you to do that, if you go back to some of the first ones, they are hilarious. And then especially if you go back like 2 winters ago when my beard got huge.
When Jedediah Nixon
it was like down, I don't even know how long. It was pretty magnificent.
Santa was jealous.
Magnificent. I've since committed close ones around me to not let that ever happen again.
Yeah.
So, but it is fun to look back through all of those past posts. And there's so much content in them. I'm hoping that you really are looking back through those older ones, because we have so many topics, so much content. We've gone through the 4 steps to confidence. We've gone through the 8 essential coping skills a couple times. We've talked a lot about boundaries and communication. We've talked about self-care. We've talked about all these different types of things that you can find. And it's just a treasure trove of information back through there. So I'm hoping and encouraging you to go back and look through those things.
Yes. Justin right here says, and it's very helpful. Thank you,
awesome.
Justin.
Thank you.
Really, really appreciate that. And hi, Alyssa up here as well. We try to keep up with the comments as best we can. You guys know that. So, well, shall we jump into this week's topic?
Let's jump into this week's topic.
Perhaps we should have done some diction exercises before we both started this. We're going to be a little stumbling over our tongues, even though we've been talking all day long.
And listening.
Amen. Amen to the listening piece. So while we were discussing what we could bring to you guys as a topic this evening, Dean said, is anybody out there? And I loved that. And we were talking about this idea of feeling so isolated and alone, right? Like I immediately, when you said that, I thought of that song by David Bowie. I don't even remember what it's called, but it's like Major Tom. Is that the title of the song? Yeah,
to ground control.
To ground control, right? Like, is anybody out there? Like, that's exactly where I went with it. Sometimes it's such an interesting aspect of being human. And I don't know if any of you have ever had this experience like me, where I've been surrounded by people and felt so alone, right? And felt so just so distant and unrelated to and unrelatable, right? Like, and I think that's that echo of, is anybody out there? Can anybody understand me? Can anybody hear me? Do I matter? All of these things that we get into in our human experience. And I would say that that's a fairly, in my experience dealing with humans, you've had, you're only a little bit older than me. That's all, just a couple of years. So you've had a little bit more experience with working with humans than I have.
I just was waiting for you to out me one more time.
No, sir, I am getting better. Right, Justin? I'm working on that, right? Justin says me. So he can relate. He can relate.
He can relate.
Yes.
Yeah. And I agree. I think working with humans is through the years, it has been one of those constant themes of really that idea of where are we getting our value from. And it's important for us to feel important and important for us to feel a value. The challenge for us is really this fine dance we do between this need to be needed, getting our external value, and the need for human connection. And that's where the difference is. And that's the part I want to address is a lot of us, we need human connection. We need connectivity. We were born into this life as groupers.
Yes.
We have grouped together for eons and eons of time. Those that didn't group together, they have died out somewhere.
They're not here.
But because of our instinctual nature of grouping together and being connected is a part of who we are. So there's this balance where we have to become aware of, is this my need for human connection and human contact, or is this my need to be needed? Now, the need to be needed has a lot to do with where we're getting our value. Am I getting my value? Am I getting my identity? Am I getting all of these external things for people rather than for myself? Then that's unhealthy. But again, like you, I get so concerned with the disconnect. I hear it every day from the people that sit in here on my couch, how much isolation has gone on in our world. Mm-hmm. And every day, it's always interesting to me when I'm get stopped, whether I'm at the store or at the gym or wherever it is, and people will ask me, what's going on out there? What's going on? And they understand what do I do and understand our work. And they understand we really have a huge pulse on the emotional well-being and emotional and mental health of the world right now. Mm-hmm. And they always ask me, what's going on out there? How's everybody doing? What is the backlash? And it's so intriguing to me, the backlash that's occurring out there right now. We are getting this influx of emotional outpouring where people are trying to figure out what to do with what they've just been through. Mm-hmm. And because of that, we are really trying to find answers. But the problem I have is that we're trying to get answers through the glass window alone.
Right.
Now, there's a lot of answers out there. There's a lot of great content on YouTube. There's a lot of great content on Instagram and Facebook, and a lot of these sources that are giving us a lot of powerful insight and content. But this is not a staple. This is not the source. This is not the place. And what I'm seeing is people use social media as a platform to express emotional needs rather than using these platforms to bring people together and finding other healthier outlets for emotional needs.
Mm-hmm. And then, excuse me, wow. I feel like an additional layer to the complication in that is it's so very, there's usually a bit of an angle, right? It's not always very, very forthcoming and transparent, because that's where we get extra vulnerable, right, to be able to put those pieces out there. And so even in what we're seeing through our news feeds, in social media and such, it's still very, very filtered. So it's
Correct.
Still very difficult for us to even get an accurate, clear vision when looking for those things, right? When looking for solutions and looking for resources and looking for maybe a new way to look at something, or to even get connected, right? In this, is anybody out there, right? Like, I'm looking for like-minded individuals to help me understand me, if we're doing that once again in that healthy way of wanting the community, right? Not seeking more value, which we at Turning Leaf are always all about, is really getting into the value of what it is that we're doing. And so that's where it can also add a little bit of that. It's almost like a fun mirror, like when you go to the circus or something, right? And you walk through the fun house. It's like not an accurate representation of good, healthy outlets.
Right. Yes. And the piece that we've got to do is we've got to start to reach out and have organic conversations with human beings. And it's so easy and so comfortable to kind of communicate through the glass window with people, but we're losing that contact. We're losing that ability to know who people are and have conversations. And one of the things that as people have been asking me, what are you seeing out there? What I'm seeing is a huge communication gap beginning to increase. There's this huge communication gap where people have almost been shell-shocked from being honest with their feelings. Because what happens is we turn to social media to express our feelings on a platform that was not built to do that.
Right.
Social media was not a platform for you to reach out and say, hey, these are how I'm feeling. This is what's going on. That's not what social media platform is. And then there's this backlash that has come that people have received. So as a result of that, now people are afraid to just talk to anybody. When you have emotional needs and emotional and mental needs, you need to turn to individuals and start dealing with them on a very intimate, organic level, not through a social media platform, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Now, there's information on the social media platforms where you can read or you can watch YouTubes or videos about that, and that's a great source to get information.
Or like Justin said, like you guys, right? That's what we try to bring to you every week.
But it's not a source for us to have an interaction about maybe what's going on in us individually.
Yes.
So because of this, people are shell-shocked. They're afraid now to open up and let people in, to have the tough conversations, to be uncomfortable or confront topics, because they're so afraid. Everybody's so afraid that every topic is so controversial, or every topic is going to be hit with backlash, or they're not going to be seen or they're going to be seen as overly opinionated or insensitive, etc. So people aren't using their voices. Nobody's communicating what's going on inside of them. Everybody's holding it within. And because everybody's holding it within, we're starting to see an increase in anxiety, high levels of anxiety, and an increase in depression.
Yes, absolutely. Which then just further goes to that like belief system that is anybody out there? I'm all alone, right? Like nobody understands me. I don't really have anyone that I can connect with. If I do speak from my heart, then I have this belief system that I'm just going to get that the mirror come back at me, and I'm going to get a lot of negative feedback, right? Which I love how you brought that up, Dean. Like we all feel so empowered to be able to say whatever we want on the socials, right? So it is easier for people to just like smart off and say things that they would really never. I know if you check inside of your heart, a lot of the times the things that people say that they troll on or that they get in there with hate speech and stuff, if you sat down with somebody and had a lunch and opened your heart and had a conversation, you would have a very different experience. Completely different experience, right? Rather than just this very broad brushstroke of what kind of person that you must be because you voted for this particular political party, or because you're speaking out for this type of movement, or you have an opinion about Tide. I mean, it goes to everything these days, right? Like it really, really does. But when we get together, and that's one thing that's been really interesting as we've navigated our social construct over the last year and a bit, is that we haven't really been able to get together and to get that perspective, right? And so it drives us even farther and farther, which is the backlash.
And it's why people are feeling so alone.
So alone and disconnected.
Even when they're with people. And the reason they feel so alone, even when they're with people, is everybody's afraid now more than ever. And this is the one thing that I've seen recently because of the impact, is that people are so afraid to say what they think or what they feel, and to allow themselves to be authentic, that it's going to somehow come back and make them look a certain way, or be used against them, or be twisted or turned. And so as a consequence, people aren't, even when they're with other people aren't themselves. And the only time that they feel like they can be themselves is when they come in and they sit and they start talking, and they start talking through their feelings. I love your group. I love Kate's groups that she does. It's another venue where you can sit down and you can be understood. because as in a situation where you're posting something, and I'm not trying to bash totally on social media for everything. I think social media is a great way to contact with people
Absolutely.
and connect.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm putting out a thought or a feeling, and then all I get is a ton of backlash towards it, when if you'd really had a chance to explain it better or articulate it better, but it's already turned into a firestorm. So now we're taking that same energy, that same philosophy, and we're taking it into our relationships or that are organic, and we're not saying anything. And this is where I'm challenging you, is we need to be more organic, more authentic. We need to be able to have the conversations people don't want to hear or have, and to do it in a civil way. We don't have to tell people that they're wrong, and we don't have to tell people that we're right. We just need to have a dialogue. Because until we start having a dialogue and start having organic face-to-face conversations, we will never understand each other. Typing your comments into a remark of somebody's post that they made because they don't like guacamole and turning into a firestorm is not healthy. And so that's one of the biggest backlashes, because we've been so isolated, we've been really limited. So what I dare people to do, I'm really daring you to just say hello to your neighbor. I'm daring you to say hello and introduce yourself. My name is, and get to know the people around you and start to have conversations. I dare you that when you go to the next family gathering or friend gathering, I challenge you to have the conversations and be authentic and be yourself. But find a way to say things that are how you feel in a tactful, accepting way. Not that you're right, but this is how you feel. And once we start broaching these topics and these conversations, things are going to open up. We're going to start to feel more connected than we've ever felt before.
Yes, absolutely. We do these beautiful seminars here at TurningLeaf. And if those of you that have gone through seminar, any one of the 4, it's a series of 4 emotional growth seminars that we do. It's always so beautiful to me. And it's this very topic that we're talking about. We take 20 people that are complete strangers, most of them. Sometimes we'll get like siblings or spouses that come in, or, like friends will decide to do it together, but mostly they're strangers when they walk into day 1 of level 1 or day 1 of level 2, right? Like completely do not know these people at all. And in 3 days' time, they're basically family.
Right.
They have been able to see one another in a way that is totally beautiful. And it's beautiful in the seminar space because it's a petri dish of a short time.
Right.
Right. But you take that same notion and apply it into your life experience of being able to open up, wanting to know and understand somebody, and not in that, I love how you were just saying, right? Like, I'm right and you're wrong. No. You guys know we are very not on that level around here. But to be able to say, I can love and appreciate and honor you for your life experience.
Right.
I'm grateful that you're my neighbor. I would like to know this about you. Like, it's just completely just heartwarming and expanding every time we do that process, right?
Yeah.
And for me too, anytime I have new individuals that come into our work environment or my social life outside of here, to be able to see each other, to really, really start to see one another and have conversations, that is when we learn really, really quickly that we are so very similar. That idea of, is anyone out there, it's a false notion. It's a false belief. It's not real. There's how many people on this planet? That's how many people are out there. And there's so much commonality in all of us, right?
Yep.
Like in our reality, like, oh, I'm all alone. Nobody can understand me. No.
Yeah.
I believe that if you sat down to lunch with anybody on this planet, you would be able to find commonalities, just because for this one similarity is the fact that we all have a body and we are all experiencing it in different individual crazy ways, right? Like, there's so much interconnectedness with all of us.
Right.
The false belief that we have of being completely alone and totally isolated is not real. And that I love your challenge to start getting out there and challenging that. getting in connection with others, being able to see where you are similar and where you are different, which is the spice of our existence.
It is, and it's very difficult to have these conversations at times.
Oh yes,
because a lot of times we don't just become we aren't just authentically ourselves, and we get frustrated because others around us aren't authentically themselves.
Right.
And it makes it very, very challenging. And so we've got to learn to be able to start to talk about things that are inclusive of people. So as we have these conversations, they need to be inclusive conversations. How do I include you, not exclude you?
Yes.
Or not how am I going to be excluded? And once we get into these communications, and we start to get into bringing everybody to the same table, having conversations that are meaningful. And that's probably one of the biggest challenges I see, especially families nowadays, is the conversations, they're not meaningful.
Yeah.
And so people are tuning out. People are sitting there getting on their social media platforms while a family's gathering because the conversations aren't meaningful. And the reason they're not meaningful is because people aren't speaking their hearts and minds.
Right.
And it's, again, you don't have to say I'm right and you're wrong, or this is my opinion and it's the right and only opinion. But man, oh man, let's just start having meaningful conversations where people want to put the phone down and engage in the conversation. And so these are the things that we have to do. But here's the kicker. Nobody's going to have a conversation with you if you always have to prove you're right. Nobody's going to want to have a conversation with you when you think you're the right opinion in the room. These are inclusive conversations. Help me understand conversations. Tell me what your thoughts and feelings are, conversations. Being open to other people's thoughts and ideas and feelings. And at first they may be a little bit hold-offish, but as they open up, you can encourage that. But the challenge here is we got to start talking and communicating so we don't feel so alone.
Amen. And I believe everything that you're saying is all about creating that safe environment for people to feel like they can show up in their authentic self.
Absolutely.
Which is another Monday Night Live for another day. We are out of time.
We are, and we got a lot of great comments.
Yes, we love you guys.
Thank you. We understand advocating for getting rid of social media and people eliminating platforms that can work for some people. A lot of people are saying thank you and hi and all sorts of things. So thank you, everybody.
Hearts. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And if we wondered if anybody was out there today, we know you are.
Today we know you are. So please, 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 like we're always asking of you, take this to your dinner table. Talk to your kids about it. Talk to your coworkers and your friends. Be like, hey, what do you guys think about this? And how could we create more of an environment around here that would open up authenticity and give people empowered to be able to share and connect.
Absolutely.
And we hope you have a most wonderful week as we head into April. Oh my goodness, spring is here. Mwah. We love you. We love you. We love you. And Laura just was saying hi.
Hello, Laura. We love you.
You guys have a wonderful week. We will see you next Monday Night Live.
The best time of the week.
Amen. Every time. Oh, just smile right here.